We've cut down creative revisions by over 50% by using this checklist. Now, if you're watching this video, you have the frustration of going back and forth with editors, designers, with endless of revisions, adjustments on your creatives. Now, with this checklist, we've cut down the revisions time a lot, and I want to walk you through this checklist to make sure that you're not getting into that endless loop of revisions and back and forth for either yourself, but also for your clients as well. If you run an agency or are a creative partner for any brand, you need to have a solid checklist to make sure that you cut down that revision time. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Dennis and I run an e-commerce growth agency, and we work with around 50 active e-commerce brands at this moment, and we produce thousands of creatives every single month. So someone would say, think it through about like creating high converting creatives and also dealing with the revisions that come with like producing creatives at such a high scale. So in this video, I want to walk you through this checklist that I've made that we use internally to make sure that we cut down those revisions time and our creatives are actually approved in a fast way. Because if you produce a lot of creatives, either for your own brand or for your clients, then you know that creative revisions will kill all speed. And obviously, if you want to have a decent performance, you need to have speed in production and being able to turn around creatives very, very fast. Now let's start with video ads, because it's really important for your video ads to not have any typos in the caption. It's such a pain when we send creatives to the client and we miss like a typo in the caption. It's not professional, and you want to make sure that there are no typos in the caption. Also, the voiceover that you're making with your creatives needs to be correct and have a good flow. And it's easy to follow, and making sure that overall the voiceover doesn't contain any errors. For example, if you're using 11 Labs, which creates AI voiceovers, you want to make sure that the cadence is good and it's easy to follow. Now, third point, the hook is attention grabbing. You need to make sure that your hook, the first 3 to 5 seconds, are really attention grabbing, because the first 3 to 5 seconds is so important for your creative to get the attention of your target audience. Also, what's really important, because your product might be suited for a demographic between 30 and 50 years old. Now, if you're targeting people below 30, your pacing should be completely different compared to an audience that 30 to 40 to 50 years old even. Now, if your pacing is super fast and your audience is between 30 and 50 years old, your video will miss the mark, because it's really important for your pacing to fit the right audience. And I see so many brands doing it wrong, trying to appeal to an older audience, but their pacing is super fast and they just can't follow it. And your caption should be big as well, because they might have troubles reading it as well. Also, what's really important, not for all videos, that your video has a clear call to action, because your call to action is really important to make sure that your audience actually takes action, because you have to assume your audience is actually stupid. And don't get me wrong, not all videos should contain a call to action. You have your organic type videos, but if you're really trying to sell something, make sure that you're telling your audience what to do. Showcase your offer, showcase like a shop now button with the offer. Those things really can help improve that CTR if they make it till the end of the video. Also, what you want to do is use a certain framework of your video. Start with your hook, your body, and then your end CTA. Obviously, that's a very short way of explaining like a body of like a framework. But if you want me to make a video about the entire framework that we usually use for our agency in terms of like the video framework, then please drop a comment below and I can make a video about like what kind of video framework we use for our video/UGC creatives. Now, one of the most important things maybe is to have your video speak to the audience you're trying to target. Because if you're not really speaking to your audience and your video is not backed by any research so far, then your audience will not really resonate with your video. So making sure that your video speaks to your audience and hits on like a certain persona, and also making sure that you're taking into account the awareness level of the audience and having created for all these awareness levels is super important. Now, I've already covered it, like your video needs to be backed by research. Like, spend time doing research first and then think about like creating a video. I can't stress this enough, how important it is to make sure that your video is backed by sufficient research and you're targeting a persona that you're trying to target with your video. Also, like I said before, if your audience is older, make sure that the text is slightly bigger. Your text should be easy to read. For a younger audience, it might be less important, but still, like, it shouldn't be super small and your text should be easy to read. Like, show it to like an older relative to yours and see if they're able to read the text on your video. That's a good stress test to make sure that your video passes overall like readability as well. Now, one of the most important like basic things is that make sure that you have your safe zones and that you're taking into account the safe zones of like stories, Instagram reels, feed as well, like making sure that all the variations are right. So you have your safe zones or on Instagram reels, which are different compared to like stories, and make sure that if you create a video that it fits all of the different safe zones of all the different placements that you're trying to target. For videos, 1080 by 1350 for feed, and for stories 1080 by 1920. Now let's move on to the image ads. Image ads is something that we produce a lot within the agency, and it's something that many get wrong. So let's get into the checklist. First one, like the same as videos, no typos in the image. Make sure that your editors check the image like multiple times and that they sit for like a minute. Take a look at all they've created and make sure that there are no typos in the image. Now, all elements should be aligned properly. I hate it when I see misalignments. It's not centered right, like there's good distance between the different text. Making sure that everything is aligned properly is very important for overall aesthetics. And if you're working with any clients, they might get frustrated if your editors are not taking into account the proper alignment. Now also, images using the right fonts. Like it's important to use your brand fonts and that they are congruent between the images. Like there are no crazy differences in the font and all of the fonts fit together really, really well. Also, color scheme. If you have like a brand book or you're working with clients, they have a brand book, making sure that you follow the color scheme. Obviously, there might be occasions where you're not following it, but making sure that the color scheme makes sense for the product you're advertising. Now, like I said, brand guidelines for some brands are really important, and taking into account those brand guidelines are super important to make sure that the image fits the brand and overall like fits in terms of the overall like ecosystem of the brand. Obviously, it's not Instagram organic with ads, but there is a good line of taking into account the branding elements and also taking into account performance as well. Also, like same with videos, making sure that your image really speaks to the audience that you're trying to target. It's obviously one of the main pillars of your ad, whether it's a video ad, image ad, it needs to be either backed by research or both, like backed by research and also speaking to the audience you're trying to target, like I just mentioned when I was talking about the videos. Also, text should be easy to read, like same with videos. Smaller text really tend not to work super well with older audiences, so making sure that your text is easy to read, and especially on mobile, because sometimes we can design ads on like a desktop and then when it's put on mobile, it's really small, hard to read. So making sure that your text is easy to read on mobile devices. So open your ads on your mobile and making sure that it's easy to read, and that's usually a good stress test to see if it's suited towards mobile, because 90 to 95% of the traffic will come from mobile. And same with videos as well, the UI should not be covering. So for images, usually 1080 by 1080 for feed, and I think they are changing that to 1080 by 1350, which already allowed on Instagram feed, and I think it's also coming to Facebook feed as well. And for stories, same as videos, 1080 by 1920. So that's overall the checklist that we tend to follow, and I think is important if you're creating creatives at scale. If you want to have the checklist, click the first link in the description and you're able to access it and you can use it. You can make a copy and use it with your own team to make sure that they follow this checklist. They tick all boxes once they created the ads, and making sure that you're cutting down that revision time with either your internal teams or your clients if you're working at an agency. Now, if you'd like our team to come in and set up a creative producing machine that pumps out new creatives every single week, then book a call with the link in the description below and we can see if it's a good fit. We usually work with brands that are spending between 50 to 100k plus per month, and if you're a good fit, then please book a call below. Then we can see if things make sense and we can work together and see if we can push the boundaries for your creative game. So that's it for the video. I hope you liked the checklist. Be sure to check it out below, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one.